Welcome to the Education in Isolation podcast with me, Angela Connell, where we will explore the challenges of businesses moving from a face-to-face training mode to an online training environment. Many businesses have been caught off guard by the COVID-19 pandemic, but the situation is proving to be a catalyst for new possibilities and opportunities for the training industry. Let me and my guests help you make the most of these opportunities and to navigate the transition so that you and your organisation come out stronger and more resilient than when you went in. Education is the answer and you are the leader. Hi, and welcome to Education in Isolation podcast. It's so awesome to have David Dugan on today, who is my coach, and it's really good to be able to have him on to be able to share what he has done through isolation and how it's affected his business. So, hi David, who are you and what do you do?
Hey, g'day Angela. Welcome. So good to be on the podcast. I'm a raving fan of the work that you do. So thank you. It's a privilege to be with you and the rest of your members. I'm the founder of Abundance Global, and we're a specialist business coaching and mentoring company. We work with small to medium-sized business owners. And in essence, what we do is we help business owners to have the confidence in their business that it's a pathway for them to have a remarkable life. And that is, they're getting the money that they deserve, they're having the time to do the things that they want to do, that they're the genius in, and they're making the impact they want to the planet. When you bring all those things together, in essence, that's what we do. We're a full-service business coaching company. We get profit and loss and balance sheets, as you know, every month that we get from our members. So we're like a super general practitioner that and anything that's to do with a business owner, we look after in some shape or form. So that's a short summary. People with clients from all around the world. The bulk are in Australia currently. And they get awesome results, and we love working with small to medium-sized business owners. They're the backbone of every country. They employ more people that take the biggest risks, and they're the innovators of the future, and the innovators now and also for the future. So we want to support the leaders, and that's what we do.
Awesome. How did you get into this? I know your background is definitely not this area. How did you get into this?
Well, it's interesting because from the outside, the way I got into it is quite bizarre. So it may seem a little bit eclectic. So I started life as a dentist, went through university. I got a scholarship with the Navy though. So once I finished that, I went into the Navy. Went through the ranks and I retired as a commander in the Australian Navy. While I was in the Navy, I racked up 5 university qualifications. 3 were clinical and 2 were business. And I always loved business. Since I was like 10 years old, I always had a side hustle of some sort. Even while I was in the Navy, I always had something that I was doing. I loved business. During my even university and Navy time, I became a professional coach. In the Navy was very advanced at the time in this area, and they had a mentoring program, and so I was an official mentor for all the junior officers that came in. So that really started my career off. I also spent well over $1 million in my own professional development outside the university or the tertiary qualifications. So I invested a lot in it. I knew it, and I basically implemented it straight into the work I was doing. So much so that my last official job in the Navy was training and teaching and leadership. So we trained all the commanders and the not just officers but also sailors on leadership and different angles of that. And I loved it. And I was like, this is cool. And I had a little incident, or not so little incident. There was a tsunami in 2004, 2005. Where I was involved in that mission, and there was a specific incident where a helicopter crashed, which you may recall. 9 people were killed. 9 of my friends were killed, and I was on that operation. I was meant to be on that helicopter, except that I was doing I flew off 2 days earlier to do a leadership course, and so I feel like I was given a second chance, really. and I should have been on that helicopter. So I was given a gift, and then I spent a little time working out what can I do to add the most value, and working one-on-one as a clinician with dentists was great, and I loved being a dentist. All I ever wanted to do since I was a kid. Absolutely loved it, but I realized that I was put on the planet to do something else that was a bigger calling, and I felt that the security of what I used to do, I had to put that aside and move into something that was going to be more impactful on the planet. And so here we are, well over a decade or a bit, for quite a few years now, and doing what we're doing, helping.
So you started with coaching dentists. So first Navy.
Well, actually, no. Yes. In the year 2000 when I was officially a mentor and a coach. So that was specifically for the officers and the sailors in my division and my area. Then in the last couple of years, last 3 years of that, it was to the wider community. So in fact, it was hardly any dentists. In fact, I don't think there was maybe one or two, but it was really the commanding officers who were sending, who were going to the Middle East. They needed coaching. So the coaching we did there was executive coaching, performance coaching for the people in the highest stress positions around. And so that was our job, to help them get through that journey. So that's where it started, and then we extended out on 2 and 3 day trainings on leadership and how to work with leaders. So that's what I did, and one day I was like, I love this coaching, and I had these business I always had this thing on the side, but the business qualifications. So my dad said to me, "Why don't you do both together?" And I'm like, "Oh, that sounds like a great idea. Here we are."
Yeah, and Abundance Global.
And Abundance Global. Now it's had a few iterations over the years, and where we are now is in a pretty good spot.
Yeah. So you're saying where we are now is in a pretty good spot. So what has been your biggest challenge through isolation and COVID-19?
Well, I'd say during isolation, if we look at the two of them separately, as far as the isolation, nothing. As far as how our business is operated, we've been doing this since 2011 in the same way that most people are doing. We've been partly, largely virtual in what we do. At the same time, we do run live events. So we had to move some of the live events, make them virtual, as you know, but we'll still have live events as soon as we're able to do that. So that side of it is the same old. We've got people in India, in Singapore, as in team members, in the Philippines, all around Australia, in 3 different states in Australia. So we've got a distributed team. We've been working collaboratively, and it's been working fine. And it's been working really well. So that's one thing. But during COVID, however, that's a different story. I mean, the truth is, we in 2016 we were saying there was going to be some things that were going to come up, and not necessarily COVID, but through technology. And I think the context is really important, Angela, because it could easily go, "Oh, this is what we did around COVID." But our belief is that COVID just accelerated what was already happening. It was already happening. I mean, you look at what you do, and Vivacity is, the Australasian leader in the area you do, and you basically help people to get COVID ready or basically scale their business virtually. So it was already happening. The thing that COVID did is just accelerated, and a lot of people were not prepared. We had been preparing for it, but what we hadn't prepared for is the speed that our members were going to get affected. And the people that we work with. And we work with over 2,000 businesses now, and then we work with, a good number very intimately. And so the speed that their ability to adapt meant for us, we had to go into, we were already operating in 5th gear, and we found a 6th and a 7th gear. What was important for us is listening to what was going on for our members and go, what do they need right now? We put our business to the side and just said, okay, we have to give unprecedented value now more than ever before. Not only because our members need it, but also that it was important for our business to do the same thing as well. So we just put everything aside and go, we're going to double down on everything we do. So the effort went through the roof with the same amount of team. And we just doubled down on that through all the drama as much as we possibly can. So there's lots of things, and we're happy to unpack the components of it. But I think the first part of that is listening, really, really listening to what our members need, put our current product offering to the side and go, okay, blank canvas, what do they need? What are we going to do? And, as you know, we started with something, we evolved it, and we'll probably keep on evolving it as we go forward, just as the needs require.
Yeah, and I certainly found that myself, being the participant on the other end, on the receiving end, and it certainly gave me the support that I needed. It also got me thinking about how I could support my clients and things like what are their needs, what are their biggest problems, and one of the things for me was when it hit and we were told that we were going to have to go into isolation, I'm watching the news the whole day and I'm just like, and I was in hospital at the time.
I know. I remember you had lots of drama going on.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, okay, I know what our biggest client problem is. They're delivering predominantly face-to-face and they need to get online. And I know I focused on that as well. And I think that is the key for most people, is focusing on what are the problems. How did you identify those problems? What were the strategies that you went through to figure out, okay, what are their needs, other than just asking directly each person? What did you do?
Yeah, well, we did that. We did that as well. We knew there were some people more affected than others, and so part of that is we had a little bit of a lifeline that if anyone needed any help, that we would. So actually, let me do the high level, and then I'll go the big picture, the bird's eye view, then I'll go the worm's eye view. Big picture was we did reach out and went overdrive to find out individually and also group wise what people wanted and what they needed. Now, not all those things we could deliver. We just had to pull together the key things that people wanted, and then work with that and then unfold that. So that's big picture. Granular details, you may or may not know this, but we have a call list that every member needed to be contacted, or a person in their business needed to be contacted, and we have a rhythm on that. That was a one-on-one, ad hoc, outside the regular rhythm of all the one-on-ones and on the group stuff we did. So we did that, and I was like, okay, what are they saying? What do they need? What are the problems they get going on? And we have a spreadsheet, a Google spreadsheet, a document that we pulled all that information and go, all right, this is what they're saying here. What do we need to be doing? So we did that. That's like grassroots. On top of that, we went from, so part of it is what we realize is just the direct feedback in any session we had is, what do we do? What do we need? What help do we need? So we used to run two group sessions. I'll use them as a loose term, two sessions a month, and we went from 2 to 20. So it was a big shift, and then what they look like, we had to alter and change and all that sort of stuff. But it is in those sessions that, because we were there with high frequency, we got to hear what was going on, and it changed each week. It actually evolved over time, so we had to be very adaptive to it. Part of that group stuff is we asked them what is going on for them. Then they work together in think tanks of small groups to solve some of those problems, and they came out and then shared some of that. So this is one of the big shifts in understanding. There's a professor at MIT, and his name will come to me in a few minutes, but he's arguably Sharma. I forget his first name, but his surname is Professor Sharma. Otto Sharma, that's it. He's arguably one of the if not the world leader, one of the world leaders in understanding populations and civilizations and why they rise and fall over history and over time. And what he says, and if he's true, I believe that we've been able to implement that fairly well, and that is that the old school way of a few people who have the answers, I'm trying to use words that ubiquitous for everyone. The key influences, the one person who's the font of all knowledge, with has all the answers, even like the owner of a business having all the answers. That strategy worked in the past, but it doesn't work. And he very much showed that that was the 1.0 version. So that it went from a few who have the answers to the shift, and this is where the shift to technology, and we saw this in 2016, I've been doing more on this, is that the shift has to go from a few who have the answers to the many with better quality questions. So it's around the questions to the larger group, because that's the only way that we can keep up with the pace of change. And what, just to name drop another guy, the captain of moonshots, the CEO of Google X, is an incredible man. And he predicted, and he said that the rate of change that humans move on is a very linear path, their ability to adapt to change. But what's happened is the globe and the world around them, the speed of change has surpassed the ability of humans to adapt to change. So how do you adapt to change? And that's the 2.0 version of the few people who ask better quality questions to the group, that they will come up with better quality answers or better solutions, not answers, better solutions. So we adapted that model very much, and we put it to the group. We said, we don't have all the answers right now. We're going to put it to you. And we found that we had better answers from the group than anything else. It was like, oh, that was better than we could have created, but we created the environment to allow them to do it. And then we were able to then use that to, or utilize that to then feed it back in a more articulate way that can help them out with that. So there's a few things here based on like, what do we do, and what are some things that can help other people in their business? Number one, you do need to look to the future and look at the trends and technology changes that are happening. Second thing is, and this is a military principle, and you've learned this because this is part of the training we do, is rhythm is very, very important, critical, in fact, for any business. But what people find, or what we've from a military, when I've been in the Middle East, I've been in, I think now I would call it 5 war zones, 3 real war zones, and 2 last GSC, in this last round, it feels like a war zone, is the frequency that you, and the rhythm that you meet and you discuss. When their stress is high or higher, the frequency that you meet needs to increase, not decrease. And most people decrease it, but they need to be shorter. And even with your own internal team, with your clients, it needs to be shorter and more frequent. So what we did is we built that out and said, okay, we need to be on. We went from like 2-hour meetings to 90-minute meetings, and now we've got a 60-minute meeting, because we asked, we did surveys, what's the time people could handle, and that was the most common, the common time. So frequency of meetings, both as an internal business and then also listening to clients. We went granular. Everyone had phone call conversations, we're out what's going on. Then until we get intel that way. And intel, military principle, intel is everything. So we were great intel gatherers. We then had we provided an environment to get feedback and also give feedback and harness the group collective. From that, we just went, okay, what do they need? The only reason to be in business is to solve people's problems. All the problems have changed, well, not all the problems have changed, but the situation, the circumstances have changed. We need to provide a different solution or a different environment to the problems that have come up. And those principles, I believe, are the same now as they were 5 years ago, as they will be in 5 years' time, that we need to evolve and adapt. And that's our business, but I think every business could apply those principles as well.
Yeah, and I think definitely being involved with that, it was really, that collective knowledge, and to be able to share that collective knowledge with other people. And the thing is, we've all got problems. Some are the same, some we've already solved, but other people haven't had that solution yet. So we're able to share and learn from that. And I've implemented that into my own mastermind with my own clients. And the great thing is that I understand the RTO world. So with our clients, with registered training organizations, I can understand and put a spin on it specifically for them.
Gold.
But I think, having more brains in there, coming up with ideas and solutions, and even problems like you wouldn't even know. I know there was some that I heard where someone came up with a problem, I went, oh yeah, I have that problem too. But I didn't realize I had that problem until it came up. So yeah. So it was obvious what you needed to do, and you took action. I think that's a real key of how you overcame that, was taking action, listening to what everyone was coming up with and what their problems was. And I think listening is key. Like, to be a good communicator is to listen. And I definitely found that. And one of the other things that I want to pick out of that as well is, as a trainer and coach, I think we get to learn so much from our clients, so much. Like, I love the saying, teach to learn. And it's one of the 7 habits of highly effective people is that teach what you have learned. And I learn from what I teach. So it's amazing. And that's why I love our industry so much and what we do, because we learn so much from it. So out of all that, like, it was awesome hearing all of that and hearing the back end as well. What do you think is your biggest achievement through all this?
There is no biggest achievement, because it would be unfair to the other achievements. But I'd say the things that stand out to me, I left a very lucrative career to do something that I had to start from the beginning and build up. So from a financial perspective, it wasn't the right decision to change. Certainly not, maybe now, but not then. But the reason we do it is because we love working with SMEs. And having gone to the Middle East and deployed in that, the business owner mindset is very much the same as someone who's deployed on a wartime operational environment. And so we love our members. We had a 100% retention rate going through the COVID, and it was inspiring to see, even though some people got kicked in the guts, a good number of people, zero income. And they were still working. They were still hustling. They've created new businesses. But the tenacity and the grit, it was inspiring for us. And we're never going to let anyone down. We're always going to be behind. When someone's willing to do that, we'll go for it. So I would say that seeing how people have evolved through that has been unbelievably inspiring, and from our members' perspective, how they came together and how as a group they came together and they're sharing and stuff, and that we provided an environment, but just watching them shine and go through this drama together, I feel like is definitely a huge achievement that we're proud of our members. And interestingly enough, a good bulk of them have much better businesses and much more profitable businesses than what they had pre-COVID. So it's actually been a blessing in disguise in many ways. I'd say from our team stepped up big time, and everyone, pulled some big hours on many days to offer value and to do what they needed to be doing. And we had to evolve the roles as we did. We, all our internal team have been amazing, and also not just the internal team, but the families of those internal team that had to support them as we were supporting everyone else. I think that was certainly something I'm very, very proud of. As well. So they're the two things. And I suppose just from the business perspective, one of the biggest achievements is that we can still offer great value during this great time, and seeing people shine. There's definitely a sense of, that was something we can be proud of, that we go, we helped a lot of people through, one of the most significant dramas they're probably going to have in their lifetime. So that for me was pretty good. And maybe the last one is, we're still sane and happy and in a great place, and I'm fitter and healthier than I've been in a long time.
Yeah. And there's been, what I've heard from all of that, I'm going to go slightly different track. What I've heard from all of that, it was the stepping up, the team stepping up, but it was also the people who succeeded within your membership were the ones who stepped up. And got in there and got involved, and because I know it can be a tendency, and I know I've seen it in my own industry, where okay, I'll just go put my head in the sand and go and just ignore it, and it'll just go away, and then we'll go back to where we were before. And so for me, I know for the training industry and what we're doing in our industry, it's never going to be the same again. It's going to be an expectation of online education. People are just going to expect that. We don't know whether we're going to, like Victoria's already back in isolation. We don't know whether that's going to happen in New South Wales, Queensland, or any of the other states. And so, we need to be prepared for that. So how have you seen that the future, not looking at your business right now, but looking at the future of your clients, do you what do you think about the philosophy of everything will go back to normal?
I mean, I'm on record in 2016 saying, and we had events saying that things are going to change and pick up pace. I actually don't even really completely agree with even the phrase new normal, because I don't think that this is going to be normal. And I think that it's still even, when someone listens to this, depending on when they listen to it, I suspect that there's going to be another dip in the market. I suspect that the next 12 to 18 months is still going to be quite tricky, to say the least. We will, on the other side of that, have one of the greatest bull runs in our lifetime. And the people who are getting themselves all prepared now and putting the chocks into place now are going to be the millionaires, the billionaires everyone talks about. But it was today that it occurred. More millionaires occur in downturns than any other time in history. So the things that I would say now, actually the same things I said in 2016 and have pretty much for every year since. And that is, if you're not building technology into your business, COVID just accelerated what was already happening. If it's not building technology in there, part of that technology is going virtual in some component. It doesn't mean that's the only area by any stretch of the imagination, but that is a good component to it. I think that is going to be super important. I think that everyone should be playing with or investigating how they can bring technology into their business to a higher degree. That will also lead to a comment that we discussed earlier. The only reason to be in business is to solve people's problems, and those problems evolve. So at least once a year, we need to be looking at what those problems are and going, what are the problems are, and looking at how we can create better solutions. Those better solutions is the second point, which is looking at your product offering. That does need to evolve and change. And that's where I believe, how can you bring technology, AI, big data, the simple things like virtual stuff. Yeah, that's part of it, but there's other areas into it. The great thing now through software as a service and AI as a service and all these other things that you would have to spend hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars to get, you can get for $30 a month or per user for the expensive ones, and you can bring a lot of that into your business. So I believe that when I look at the next 6 months, it's the same thing we said in 2016, is that we do need to be building that into place. What are some things that have maybe shifted a little bit on my mindset is the way we build our teams is still like our team is distributed, is still like that. What I've seen the shift is the direct payroll core team. The way that team grows will shift a little bit. I believe that there'll be a higher percentage of contractual style people that will come in, and a bit like when you have a movie, you'll have like as in any of the famous movie producers put on a movie. They bring all the stars in to produce a movie. They do the movie then gets happening, and then the stars go off on their merry ways. They may come back again for a sequel. But I suspect there's going to be a bit more of that as we go forward. I suspect that there'll be a core team that'll be around the producer, the whatever, and they'll have people come in on a project, not a movie, to help them with something. And then they'll go and do their other things. I suspect that will be a little bit more of a tweak, but all again, that just means technology is going to be a big part of helping that to occur, and having a distributed team who is utilizing the best around the world. I think that's going to be, something that will I see come up in the next 6 months. Having said all that, I'm going to put all that to the side, and you'll know this because you've done the accelerated training. All the principles of business are still exactly the same. You got to know your 13-week rolling cash flow forecast. You've got to know your numbers and finances. You've got to have great terms. You've got to have a great team that fits your personality and your profile. You've got to have awesome rhythm and rigor around the way you run the rhythm of your team. You've got to know how to promote your business and how to have elegant coaching / sales conversations with people. That still needs to occur, and you need to know how to project plan. You need to know how to work out what's our focus areas and where do I need to channel the team, or where do the team need to channel their energy. All those principles are still the same principles today as they were 6 years ago, as they will be in 6 months, and they will be in the next 6 months going forward. So there are things that are going to be the same all the way through, and then there'll be some things that will change. Probably the only thing I will find, actually, if I can add this on, what's going to change. Is that there is, in the next 6 months and beyond, there's going to be less competition for the people who've got the rigor behind their business, because some people are not going to survive.
Because it's how you're applying those principles and whether you're applying the principles.
And I know there are a few people that have been able to implement as well as you, Ange. I'm excited for anyone who works with Vivacity, because as far as a student goes, I have second to none. And excites me because what you do adds so much value to the people you serve, but you're such a fast innovator and implementer that I know that what you're producing is going to help people so much more going forward, that I'm excited to see the journey, not just from your business, but what happens for the people you serve. It's going to be damn exciting.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see what happens with our clients. I've already what they're doing now. It's incredible, the feedback that you get. I'm actually known, I've been called in my team the Angela Tornado. Because I come in and I whip things around and then walk. I'm much better at this now, but I used to walk out and everyone we were like, what happened? And I'll realise I do actually need to slow it down. And
it's maybe not slow it down. Maybe it's like
putting strategies. It's actually making sure and clarifying with them, and that they understand.
Yeah.
What essentially is okay. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The intent is absolutely bang on, and just the delivery on how that happens is just needs a little bit of tweaking, and that is for pretty much most business owners do the same thing. So it's an exciting journey, and the good thing around Vivacity and all the other spin-off businesses that you have you're one of the key elements for a lot of people to get into the technology and to pull their IP out and to distribute it, which I believe is going to be really important for people going forward. So it's an exciting journey.
Because even what you were saying before, that we're going to be contract based, the way I see that is there's going to be a lot more micro businesses where there will be people who will be contracting their own services out, not going through a recruitment agency. They will need to prepare themselves for the skills and knowledge that they can contract out. So they need to have an understanding of that. And they also need to know, well, how can I best serve this and get that information out to the community? It can be things like getting yourself online, putting together courses. And one of the things that I found is there's so many people with so much knowledge, and they've got some great ideas, but they don't know how to pull it out and put it into something that they can sell. So like a course or a mentoring or something like that. And that's where, yes, I am in the process of setting up a second business that will be addressing the non-accredited training market, because I have really identified there are so many people have a genius zone that needs to be shared, and it must be shared. How do they do that? And they're a bit lost with that at the moment. Yeah,
totally agree.
So where do you see Abundance Global in the next 6 to 12 months? How will you be operating?
We will, particularly all the shifts and changes we've made in the last 4 to 5 months. We will keep doing that. We're on a recruiting drive, bringing more team in to support our members. So we're on a training, recruiting drive. It'll be continuing on the journey that our members are on at the moment, and applying even more rigor. As you know, everyone loves accountability at the beginning, but they don't love it when they have to go through it. So just increasing the rigor around accountability going forward. And then we've got some amazing tech plays that we're soon to be released, just to make everyone's life so much easier. One of the biggest challenges people have is around how to systemize their business and how to do all those areas. Well, we're building some amazing tech, or integrating lots of amazing tech that just bolts on, that people can go, right, here's the whole heap of stuff already done for you. So that'll get in there, and we'll just keep on adding that in there. We've got some other neat things that are other tech plays, which are just basically bolting onto a person's business. They can go, all right, I don't even have to go and create it now. It's already done for me. All I have to do is use it. So there'll be other things that we will keep on doing.
And so were they identified through going through this in the last 6 months? What was it that
we were already on the journey, is the truth. We building a platform on the side that has an AI component to it as well, and big data as well. We were already on the journey for it.
Was it fast tracked?
Yeah. Hard to say, because we've been so busy in the last 5 months that we may have started some of them earlier had we not had to go from 2 to 20 sessions a month. We may have started some of them earlier, is possibly the truth, but it's going to be on track. So I think it's hard to say. It was kind of on the plans this year to do anyway. We just had to move around which quarter it was going to be hitting into.
Yeah. Well, I know we had the retreat with you guys the end of last year, and I still have those goals in front of me every day. And particularly in April, everything's sort of, okay, all right, there's some other stuff that we need to focus on right now. But I have actually fast-tracked a lot of what I had planned to do. What was supposed to be done at the end of the year actually is now implemented. Yeah. And that was because I knew that our clients needed more support. On that, I identified that last year. But this year I just went, right, okay, we've got to do it now.
Now's time. We shifted the quarters, almost almost the same for us as well. What we were planning on, we just moved the quarters around. So the tech play happened later, but the support play happened earlier. That was
yeah. And it was just identifying, okay, this is what our clients need. This is what we need to do, and to address that. So, okay, this has been awesome. How do you keep motivated each day?
It's an interesting question, and some people say, "Oh, you're a motivational speaker," and that. And I it's an interesting word. This may be a little bit lateral thinking here. I don't know if you can motivate someone. Is kind of like my first thought. I think there are some people that just genetically have a drive to do certain things, and that's going to be what it is. Now, having said that, that was kind of like, it's a bit of a downer, David. What's the how do you get motivated? What I think is, I don't think motivation is something that you like. Some people naturally are just go-getters, but it doesn't mean that someone who's not a inverted commas go-getter doesn't have an amazing day and can't live an amazing life. Far from it. In fact, far from it. So when I think of motivation, I think of happiness, I think of joy, I think of doing my purpose, and they're the things that I think about. So if I think of that on a daily basis, how do we stay on track with that? And again, I think it comes down to rhythm and rigor and rituals. I don't think you get motivated. I think motivation is something that you do. It's like people say, I need to be joyful. It's like, let's do joyful, like do the activities that will help you do that. And I find for me and a lot of people is motivation comes from building in some rituals to keep you strong, keep you on the right pathway. And for me, a morning ritual is one of those really important ones. So I have a ritual that I've been doing for well over 20 years, and I have a morning ritual. And if you win the morning, you win the day. So I just make sure that I do whatever I can to win the morning. I do get up early. I do naturally get up early, but I get up earlier than a lot of people. I'll do my breakfast routine. I'll do an exercise routine. I do a breathing ritual, which is really important. That helps to get my mindset clear, and I get to focus on the day. And so I'll do those activities. I listen to a little bit of music as I come into the office. Same tune every day. So I'm running a ritual that I'm putting myself into a state of being motivated rather than something that I have to will myself to do. If I have to will myself to do it, it does not happen. There's days I'm up and days I'm down, and in this business, I can't afford to do it. So I just set myself up to win by making sure that I run it's like I press play on the button and then just play that routine. And then I set myself up for the morning, and once I've done that, everything sort of works from there.
It's like a positive Groundhog Day.
It's a positive Groundhog Day. It's exactly what it is. And actually, the thing is, and a bit like Groundhog Day, though, similar, is it actually, even though I've just said it's about the morning, it actually starts the night before. So it's about clearing the mind before. What do I want to get done the next day? Clearing out the things I did today. I think about, there are three things that are three values or three things that are my purpose in life. And so I just ask myself the question as I put my head on the pillow, how have I loved today? How have I lived today? Sorry, how have I loved today? How have I led today? And how have I inspired today? So love, lead, and inspire are the three words that resonate for me. So I just put my head down on the pillow after I worked out what I'm going to do for the next day. My unconscious brain works on it. Just get up in the morning, press play, do the things. I feel good. Everything else kind of works from there. And that's how I do motivation every day.
Yeah. And it's different for everybody. And I think the routine is very good, knowing that, this is what your routine's going to be. And I'm sure, even though you have that routine, it's different things are going to come up each time. How have I loved, how have I led? Like different things would come up for you.
Totally.
And it's a good way to get your unconscious mind thinking about it going to bed. So I think it's a very good strategy for motivation.
For motivation. Do motivation.
Yeah. And it really does depend on each person how they want to keep motivated. So that's awesome to hear.
Pleasure.
So thank you very much, David. It's been a pleasure having you on our podcast today and hearing a bit of insights and background. I've heard quite a few stories, but hearing a bit more, and particularly those strategies that you've put in place and how you've identified, and this is something I tell our clients, go ask your clients, if you could wave a magic wand, what could I do to save your problem?
Bingo.
Solve that problem. And that's basically what you did. And it's not necessarily a magic wand. It's more so, okay, I've listened, and how can we address that? So thank you very much.
Pleasure, Angela. Great to be on, and looking forward to seeing all the amazing stuff that the Vivacity team get to do for their members as well.
Yeah, so am I. You've been listening to the Education in Isolation podcast with me, Angela Connell. If you'd like access to the show notes and other resources to find subscription options, you can find us at educationinisolation.com. The Education in Isolation podcast is proud to be part of the Experts on Air podcast network.